You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club, and we got a special guest in the building.
Yes.
Maria Shriver.
Good morning, Ms. Shriver.
Welcome.
Good morning, Maria. Please call me Maria.
Now, your kids are saying, why are you coming to The Breakfast Club?
Yeah, they were like, are you sure they invited you on The Breakfast Club? I said, I think so. They're like, I don't think so, Mommy. I don't think that's your crowd. I was like, no, it's my lane. Everything's my lane. I like it.
Well, we got a mutual friend, Jan Miller.
That's right, we do, yes.
That's my partner. That's the homie right there.
Yeah, she's a homie. I like that you call her. That's what she is. She's effective. Isn't she great?
Yes, and Jan always sends me books, so she sent me your latest book, I've Been Thinking. And, I love daily affirmations, and I love meditation and prayer and stuff like that. She's like, would you like to have Maria Shriver on? I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Why not? Yeah, because we're all praying. We're all trying.
Absolutely.
We're all
Like
meditating.
this is universal for anybody.
Exactly.
Too. Just different things about your life that you can do to improve it and be more at peace.
Well, it's also, my hope was that it would get people thinking about their own thoughts, because I think we all need to have our own original thoughts. And in this climate today, everybody's telling you what to think. And so these are my thoughts as they've evolved over my life, and your beliefs change and your thinking changes on things, and I think that's a good thing.
Now, if they don't know who Maria Shriver is, explain to the people who Maria Shriver is, Yee.
She's a New York Times bestselling author. She was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger for like 100 years.
For 100 years. That's right.
She's done a lot of different things.
I'm a journalist. That's right. I'm a journalist. I'm a writer.
This book actually came from a column that you have.
I have a column every Sunday. I have a Sunday. It's called the Sunday Paper. It's a weekly newsletter. And I write I've Been Thinking every Sunday. You can subscribe to that. It's free. And it also puts a lot of other people in it who are kind of above the noise, trying to put positive thoughts out into the world about a whole host of subjects. And so I look for people that are kind of trying to move the needle, whether it's in art, music, radio, politics, science, research, and who are trying to put a positive spin on things. So,
what made you want to put all your stuff in a book, like do the prayers, the meditations, and affirmations? Because you have so many out there. You got Wayne W. Dyer.
I'm always, as a journalist, you're always thinking, you're curious. And I do these columns every Sunday, and people who get them said, I'd really like you to put them into a book. And so I said, okay, I'll respond to that. And I've been so humbled, really. Shot to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Wow.
And people have said that it's really helped them kind of navigate life. We all deal with grief. We all deal with loss. We hopefully deal with success. We deal with family. And I think there's no right way to deal with all that, but all of us look for ways to do it well and to do it as gracefully as we can. And so I try to deal with a lot of those subjects in the book, and I put prayers in there that have helped me navigate life across my life. And so I think, hopefully people are responding to it and getting support from it.
Well, I love one thing, the power of pause.
Yes.
Explain the power of pause.
Can I tell you what pause is? Go ahead. I'll tell you what pause is in our community.
No, tell me what pause is before I say no, because
I'm not talking about the pause in our community. I'm
talking about the pause in your community so I can adjust my pause.
No.
Don't adjust yours.
As a man, if I'm talking and I say something that may sound gay, you know what I mean? We say pause.
So give an example.
Like if I be like, yo, I had some meat this morning that was really good. You should try it. You know what I mean?
Or if I had a hot dog this morning, pause.
Yeah, it's just
because
really
a hot dog
stupid.
reminds you of a penis, so you say pause.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm talking.
Okay, that went right over my head.
Or like one time he got caught up in a Snapchat scandal, and somebody said that he likes 9.5-inch dildos. And so that was a pause
well, I don't have
moment.
any of that in my book.
Yes,
There's
okay.
nothing
like that.
that.
I wasn't talking about dildos.
Yeah,
I was talking about the power of evaluating. So
you said pause.
Pause.
Yes.
Okay, so in my world, pause, I was speaking to a group of journalism students. And in my world, kind of talking about pausing before you put out a story that you don't know is true.
Right.
Cautioning people to pause before they forward a text or an email that
it was
might hurt
fake
someone's
news,
life.
by the way. That story he's talking about.
Let it
go.
go. Gosh, why
That's
you protest so
interesting.
much?
She thinks it's true.
You know what, though? We just had a topic about that, about just taking a
How do you
moment
deal
before
with these
you
guys
jump
every
the
day?
gun.
I have
ignore
4
them.
brothers. You ignore them. That's the best way to
We
deal
just
with
keep going.
You just keep going. I like that. Pause. You pause.
Pause. A lot of pausing goes on
let
in here,
them
Mr.
talk,
Shriver.
and then pretend you don't hear them and just continue to go on.
Right, we just keep on going with the conversation.
I like that.
Now, for yourself, having grown up in the spotlight, pretty much your whole life, and then marrying and even more spotlight and going through so many things publicly. How does that affect you? Because I'm sure you've had to reevaluate a lot of things based on the different trials and tribulations that have been so public for you.
Well, I grew up, as you said, in a public family. I am a member of the Kennedy family, so there was a lot of focus on that. But I was raised in a family that really directed you to make a difference in the world, to go out and try to make the world better. That was really what my parents and my grandparents stressed. And I think you just try to live your life the way you know how, the best you can. And I had two parents who really exemplified that. My mom started the Special Olympics. My dad started the Peace Corps, the War on Poverty, Job Corps, Legal Services. So I was raised by two people that I saw every day go out and try to make the world a better place. And then I think everybody has trials and tribulations in life. As I say to my kids all the time, don't think you're going to be spared grief, loss, pain, rejection. It happens to all of us, and the way you navigate it says a lot about kind of who you are. But mistakes happen. Everybody makes mistake. I write about that. I write about, there's no such thing as a perfect person. I think that's really important, particularly for women who look at, other people's lives on social media and think they have it better. They look better. They're thinner. They're this, they're that. And I try to always direct myself and my children back to focus on yourself, focus on what you're doing, how you're navigating, and try to drown out all the other language and stay focused, because you're a full-time job and anybody else's business is God's business or their business. So stay out of their business. And so that's the way I try to kind of navigate my own life. And I don't think about living a life in the spotlight. I just think about living a life that works for myself and what I'm trying to do, how I'm trying to move the needle in my own life, and trying to take care of my kids and do the best I can with my life.
Have you always been a spiritually grounded person?
Yeah. My parents went to Mass every single day. I was educated by the nuns and later the Jesuits at Georgetown. And so I've struggled with my faith, as I did in college, but I found that it's been really helpful to me, certainly after we started having children and then raising them and then kind of going through stuff in my own life. When you lose your parents, when your life upends in different areas, you start to think like, okay, there must be something larger. I hope there's something larger than me at work here. I hope that I'm on a path that's guided by someone or something larger than myself. And like this morning, I wake up and I express gratitude. I pray to God and I say, show me what you want me to do today and what is the path for me. And I try to navigate that. And that's kind of what's in my book. And, less judgment, more openness, more compassion, more original thought. Try to think about how you're, as I said, moving the needle. Find some place to move the needle in your life and then go about and doing it.
How did you meet Arnold Schwarzenegger? You guys seem so different. Are y'all so different?
We're different. Yeah, we were different. He came to a tennis tournament called the Robert F. Kennedy Tennis Tournament. It was a celebrity tennis tournament that raised money in my uncle's name. And he came to that in 1977, and I met him then. And just clicked instant. So, we had a great ride.
Did you check on him after he was hospitalized last week, right?
Yeah, and of course I check on him, yeah. Check on him all the time, every day.
Now, in the book, you talk about the difference between, well, you don't talk about the difference, but you say it's the power of thank you, but then it's the power of gratitude. So what is the difference?
Well, I think thank you is expressing thank you, and gratitude, they're both similar. I have a gratitude practice where every morning I wake up and express gratitude for the life I have, the health I have, the children I have, the relationships I have, and I express gratitude, which gets me off of thinking like, why this or why that, or bemoaning. It changes your perspective. And then I think expressing gratitude, like, thank you for having me on this show. Thank you for being open to having me on this show. So I express things of gratitude in my own life, but then I try to express gratitude to other people in real time. I thank people for being my friend. I think I've been thinking last week, having lost two friends kind of back to back, and we talk so much about people when they've died, but we don't ever express to them in real life and in real time how much we appreciate them, what they're doing for us. So often we wait to extol somebody once they're dead and they're not around to hear it. So I'm a big believer in thanking people when you're invited for dinner. As I say to my kids, write a thank you note. Tell someone, that you're grateful. Bring some flowers. Let someone know. Look them in the eye. Tell them that they matter.
That means a lot because a lot of people don't do that anymore.
Very few
I
people
feel
do
like,
it. Yeah.
like a nice thank you note or even just an email or a phone call because we text each other so much.
I know.
Just a phone call saying thank you.
My kids tell me all the time I'm the only one that makes phone calls anymore. That's so yesterday. And I'm like, well, I like the sound of your voice because I can't read your emotion in a text.
Yes.
I can't tell what you really think. I can misunderstand very often. So I like to hear someone's voice. I like to connect with people. I think that's really why we're here. I don't think we're here to connect necessarily through a computer. I think we're here to connect in community, in relationship. That's, I can feel you. I can hear you on the radio or I can get a text or something from you. But if I meet you, if I connect with you, and I'm a big believer that we're all very fundamentally the same.
What makes you so positive? Because you are a positive person in this world, in this day and age.
I'm really
there's so
positive.
many things that are negative that you would see something like, all right, well, I would switch. But you are so positive in all aspects.
Well, thank you.
See, even that was like, well, thank you.
She expressed gratitude
What's
immediately.
gratitude to you?
Well, I think
How
you can
bitter
either,
are you?
No, I'm not, but I love this. You don't really
Jesus
see
Christ.
positivity like this.
You don't?
No.
Oh, he's in the wrong circles.
Well, not with the guests that we bring up here. But go
Oh,
ahead.
well, I think you can either be really negative or you can shift your perspective and think, wow, there's a lot going on that's good. I think so often there are people out there that are doing incredible things that don't get a lot of attention,
Right.
that the news doesn't focus on. I think I'm a member of the news, and it's pretty much focused on one person with one last name and whatever he's doing kind of 24/7. But there's
Is
this
his last
whole
name
other
Trump?
world. Yeah, there's this whole other world. And one of the great things I think about Trump being elected is everybody's awake.
Yeah.
People are
Yes.
running for office. They're understanding their government. They're
People
aware
are
of what
voting
it.
for local offices
Yeah,
now.
and so I think that he has done something that I couldn't get my kids interested in politics the way they are now.
Right.
I think there's so many people running who never thought that they would run. So many people watching the news who never watched the news before. So I think you can look at it as like this is a disaster, and all that, or you can look at wow, this has come of that. Look at all these interesting people that are putting different ideas out there.
What
so
can we take from this? That's
what can we
positive.
take? Yeah.
And that's why I loved what you talked about, intestinal fortitude. I've never heard that phrased in that way before. But it's so true that when you see the president or you see different things on television and people are just bullying each other, raging at each other, arguing, throwing things, and that's not a positive thing. But for some reason, people are drawn to that.
Yeah,
And
it's like a car wreck. People are drawn to watching a car wreck. And, I think when I see that on TV now, I just turn off the television because I don't think that serves any purpose. It doesn't move us forward. We don't have any takeaway from that. And I always try to also talk to my kids whenever anybody's screaming or raging at you. What's the story beneath the story beneath the story? There's always something else that they're raging about, that they're angry about.
They're probably mad at themselves.
Yeah, that there's some other story. And I often find myself when someone starts yelling at me or saying something, I'll go, tell me what's really going on. What are you really angry about? And let's talk about that because that's kind of, that's what's interesting.
What would the Kennedy clan think of Donald Trump? And we're all avid
Yeah.
Donald Trump supporters in here, by the way.
You are?
No.
Come on. No way. Come on. Maria. Come on.
You are? My. I think, the Kennedy family is a big family, so I don't think there's one train of thought. Everybody in the we all grew up as Democrats. I'm now independent. I was First Lady of California, and I was a Democrat in a Republican administration, and I kind of watched both parties up close there, and I realized that, wow, I had been raised to think the Republicans were the enemy, and I realized that there are a lot of good people in that party, and there are a lot of people that are not so good, and vice versa. So I think that I would say that most people, my cousin Joe Kennedy is a congressman from Massachusetts and is, I think, a really good person to pay attention to because he's very vocal against the president, but also very vocal about working together and the need to work together. So I think if I were in office, I would be butting up against the president on many of these issues. But I would think that there would also be people in the House and the Senate who are Republicans that I could work with. And I think that's the goal. You don't have to work with everybody, but you do, and you can find people that are different from you, where they have a different party, they come from a different place, they come from a different background. That's what we need to do. We need to find something that we have in common and work from that place because we all have something in common. And I think really smart political people find the one or two things that people who are different have in common, and they start building a relationship from that place.
Yeah, with Trump, I don't even think it's about Republican, Democrat. It's about
Yeah.
right and wrong.
It's about right and wrong. It's about temperament. It's about language. It's about words. It's about
Truth.
Truth. Exactly. I think one of the things that I've been so disappointed in is that how so much doubt has been stirred up, so much confusion that people are really struggling with the media, struggling with the FBI, struggling with the Justice Department. They have so much doubt now
You don't know who to
stirred
trust.
up anymore. And that's like in a relationship, right? When you have doubt stirred up, nothing's good. So when the President of the United States is stirring doubt and confusing you, you become afraid, you become scared, you don't know where to go, where to look. Pause. Pause.
Yeah.
Come back to what you know is true. Come back to
Right.
sources that you know have no dog in the fight. And you know that the people who work in the Justice Department have devoted their life to working that way. You know that people in the FBI have devoted, their life to working that way. Is everybody 100% perfect? No, it doesn't
Nobody is.
exist.
Yeah.
But, NBC where I work, it's not fake news, right? There, so I think that everybody can, do better, and that's like all of us, right? But I think there are things that we know if we pause and we kind of tune all the, this person's crazy, that's fake, that can't be trusted, this is a witch hunt, this is this. Step back, come back to what you know, come back to what your mama told you, come back to the truth, and then go from there.
What piece of advice would you tell Donald Trump if he was to read this book?
I would love for him
Which-
to read this book. I would love for him to
Which would be the
pause.
top one for him
Pause.
that would be
Power of
pause?
empathy.
Power of empathy. Yes, that's true. Power of empathy, power of pause, power of gratitude. Know that you can't get anything done alone, and that as long as you think of yourself as a lone person, you will be a lone person. And I think you're also seeing a lot of that. I think, the politics that I grew up in, people came to work for you and with you because they believed in the vision you were setting forth. They weren't guns for hire. They were people who believed in what you were espousing. And I think, and then they grew with you. I think one of the challenges for this, and there are many for this presidency, is there's nobody who's grown and come along, right, based on a philosophy, based on what is the vision that we have for America. America has always been great, and it's great because of the people who make it great, right? And they come from all walks of life, all experiences. There's this great ad, I can't remember. I think it's like it's playing now, and it's I think it might even be from an insurance company or something, but it's I'll Stand With You, and it's about how Americans, they all look different, they come from all different backgrounds, and they come to help people who are so different from them. Someone burns down a mosque, people come together and help rebuild it. Someone does something in a church, people come to help. Someone's neighborhood is homeless, they build a house. I mean, there's so many great examples every day all across this country of people coming together, and we all are focusing on, these kind of words, doubt, craziness, fake, witch hunts and stuff, and we're missing the bigger story that's going on. And that's what I hope people will start thinking about.
What is the power of empathy to you?
It's understanding. I mean, if you look at sympathy and empathy and the difference, that's a really good question. It's being able to, first to me, to listen and to feel where you're coming from, to feel your story. Sometimes it's like, wow, I hear you and I feel you, and I'm trying to understand where you come from and what you've experienced. Not feeling sorry for you,
Right.
but kind of being able to, they say, walk in your shoes.
Have compassion for
Yeah,
someone
but
else.
feel your experience, feel your pain, feel you.
You said we are the ones that we have been waiting for.
Yeah, that's from a
end with
Hopi
that.
Prayer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from a Hopi Prayer that I first read when Arnold was inaugurated. And I love it because it really calls to each and every person that there's no leader out there that's going to lead you, that we are actually the ones that we're waiting for. I think we often sit back and think someone else will make our life, someone else will show us the way, someone else will lead us. And I think there's great wisdom in the Hopi nation and in elders. It's a poem But I love that it kind of deals with the metaphor of a river, and that there are times in all of our lives where you're just floating and you're going down, and that really to come back to the notion that you're capable of saving yourself, you're capable of navigating whatever the river is, you're capable of leading yourself wherever you want to go. And I think that's a very powerful thought, concept, and idea, that if you can breathe, that if you can let go of what people tell you, that if you can navigate the storms of life, if you can breathe and have empathy and compassion, first and foremost for yourself.
Right.
I think that's super important, to have it for yourself, and that you will then be the leader you're looking for.
With this administration in the White House, I think that's the best advice anybody can take.
Absolutely.
Well, this
To
was
be the
this
leader.
book was
Yes.
right on time for me. I actually just did a TED Talk over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
I know,
Good
and
for
it was,
you.
and it was all about the reasons why people hate, and how it's more to do with how you feel about yourself
Right.
than really the issues that you might have with somebody else. If it's out of fear, if it's out of jealousy, certain things that aren't going well in your own life, then
Right.
maybe you see somebody else achieving something that you haven't been able to achieve and you think they don't deserve it. And so it's interesting because we are all works in progress. So while I
Yes.
was reading this book, I was reflecting on a lot of things, and you said a person needs 3 things to be truly happy. And that is someone to love, something to do, and something to hope for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a really simple, basic concept of happiness when you break it down.
Well, I think
in that
everything's
way.
simple when you break it down. I think the world is really complex. It's scary and everything, but everything's really simple. Do you feel needed? Do you feel useful? Do you have something that's larger than yourself out there? Do you love someone, and does someone love you, right? And that's what gets you up. And if you have hope in your life, I think having hope for your future makes you able to get up and go towards your future. And I think that's also super important as you age. If you have something to hope for, and if you have someone to love, you have your health, really important, you'll get up. And you have to have something that's not about money, not about fame, not about, social media, but something that's kind of bigger and more important to you. You'll get up in the morning.
Right.
And so I think that's, if you step back and kind of break it all down, it's really pretty simple and pretty basic.
Well, let's close this with a prayer. Do you mind leading us in a prayer?
Oh, I'd love that. Why, do you want me to read a prayer from my
Yes,
book?
please.
Why not?
Do you want, I was going to say, boy.
Whatever you think the room needs.
Whatever I think, okay. The room needs, let me find, where's I don't know, St. Francis prayer. I think that's what the world needs, but I don't know. Let's see. Well, you know what I'm just going to do? I'm going to read the prayer that I opened to.
There you go.
Okay? And it says, Dear God, these are prayers that I wrote that are at the end of each reflection. And it says, Dear God, help me to step away from the noise today, to take a deep breath, quiet my heart and mind, and trust you to take care of all the uncertainty I feel about what I cannot control. Keep me from fear and discouragement when the path ahead is hidden and confusing. Thank you for all the wise people you have given to me, whose words and actions lift me above the negative and the critical, and bring the clarity and positive perspective I need. Help me to stop and listen to them and to remember what they've said so that I can refocus on the good that I can do for others. Even though I don't see the path ahead, I rest assured that my future is in your hands. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
There you
Thank
go.
you for joining us.
Thank
Thank you for having me.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.